The term autoimmune disease is the biggest scam the medical industry ever invented, and they will never stop doing this because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry behind it. Why don't more scientists stand up? Hi, I'm Exiled Medic and I have dedicated my life to food, nutrition and healing the body with herbs, supplements and foods. I studied medicine, but I realized that medicine doesn't care about preventing disease and really curing the causes of problems. Everything I will say now is not medical information. Always consult your doctor and your healthcare professionals and all that yada yada. Chapter 1. Why do we get autoimmune diseases? Autoimmune disease is the biggest scam the medical industry ever invented. Our body does not just start magically attacking itself. Medical universities teach to this day that autoimmune diseases are your body attacking itself and that they are caused by the body attacking itself. This is because the science could not figure out why so many people in the 1950s suddenly developed these mysterious diseases. So they stuck to that narrative, even until now in 2023. Because how could they admit that they have been wrong all this time and that they've just pulled this explanation out of their And also, why would they want to stop this multi-billion-dollar industry complex of just treating the symptoms of these complex diseases? In total, there are 80 different autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple sclerosis, diabetes type 1, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, Hashimoto's, and many more. For all of these, doctors don't know or don't admit the cause. And that's it. We just use medications to keep them at bay. But let me ask you something. Have you ever heard from a friend or a friend of a friend that they healed their flu or bettered their symptoms from autoimmune diseases with antiparasitic medications? Have you ever heard of the millions of people that used detoxing methods and then afterwards they felt better? Did you ever ask yourself why those two things are the case? And you can read about both of them, even on Wikipedia there's information. For every symptom in the human body, there is a cause. Science, not medical science, actually already has found multiple correlations between parasites, viruses and bacteria causing massive amounts of inflammation and antibodies. Science has also found direct connections between bugs and autoimmune diseases. For example, the relation between Epstein-Barr virus and multiple sclerosis in 2022, or the connection between common parasites and Crohn's disease. To summarize the main point in this first chapter, it's bugs that can trigger autoimmune diseases, and they are the ones that are directly attacking our immune system and causing antibodies to be released into the body. The term autoimmune disease is the biggest scam the medical industry ever invented, and they will never stop doing this because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry behind it. But now the question arises, where do we get all these bugs from? Why does everybody have Epstein-Barr virus and herpes virus and parasites? Which brings us to chapter number 2. Where do we get bugs from? First of all, let's distinguish between different types of bugs. The most important bugs for autoimmune diseases are parasites and viruses. Let's start with the parasites. Where do we get them from? There's 3 main causes for parasites. First of all, we have our environment. Whenever we go swimming somewhere and there's parasites in the water, which is quite common, then these parasites can enter our body even through our skin, but also obviously through our mouth. The same goes if you're walking barefoot in infected soil. Next up, we have direct contact with others. Most of our beloved household pets have parasite infections. That's why we deworm them twice a year usually. Also, some parasites are extremely contagious and they love to hop from host to host, and we are just transmitting them to other people in our environment. And we can spread them easily through close contact or unsanitary conditions, like touching yourself somewhere and then touching food or touching surfaces. The third and the most important reason that is also preventable is contaminated food and drinking water. I don't want to gross you out, but if you eat raw fish sometimes, like sushi, then you likely already have or had parasite infections. Parasites are extremely common in undercooked meat and also in raw fish, but it doesn't only stop there. Vegetables that aren't handled properly, like salads, but also vegetables and other produce that is commonly infected by parasites, are very common reasons. Next up on the list, we have viruses, the second biggest possible trigger of autoimmune diseases. Viruses are everywhere, they're ubiquitous. There's a 90% likelihood that you already have or had Epstein-Barr virus. There is a quite high chance that you already have herpes or that you're infected with HHV virus. As they're extremely common right now and they're spreading like wildfire through humanity. You can get this Epstein-Barr virus, or also called EBV. You can even get it from your birth in the hospital if one of your parents had EBV. or you can get it from simple causes like eating out. Anybody with infected blood will spread it around, so it is extremely common right now. There's many different variants of it. From some of them it's easier to heal, some of them are more tough. You can even be infected with multiple strains of EBV at the same time. Especially EBV seems to be the cause for things like chronic fatigue syndrome, Lyme's disease, but also fibro. And it can even have symptoms without already being classified as a disease, like AFib, like anxiety, like fatigue and brain fog. Of course, there's multiple viruses, and I could go into a long rant of hours talking about these. In summary, and what is important for you to know though, parasites and viruses are pretty much everywhere in the world. It's extremely hard to completely eliminate them. There are some precautionary actions you can take, like trying to stop eating raw fish, stop eating food that is likely contaminated, like unwashed strawberries or salads that are unsanitary handled. But in the end, as a learning for you, they're extremely hard to avoid, both parasites and also viruses. That is why we need to detox. That is why we need to have reliable ways of getting rid of all those bugs. Which brings us to chapter 3. Detoxing the body. But what's even a detox, you may ask? Everybody already heard the term of detox. There were even celebrities that were selling their detox teas on social media. And you probably also heard some of your relatives or people on Instagram or conventional doctors laughing about detoxing. Detoxing is like a pseudoscience that nobody really takes serious much. One of the reasons is that doctors only get 2 hours of nutrition education and 0 hours of prevention of disease education, because there's just no money in healing diseases or in preventing diseases. Most people are extremely uneducated about the topic, and I strongly believe that there's a narrative out there which tries to make detoxing look like a joke or a scam, but it's not if you do it right. What does detoxing mean? Detoxing, literally as the name says, means being toxin free, getting rid of the toxin. Detoxifying yourself. Toxins in this case can be anything. It can be the things we talked about, like parasites or viruses, but it can also be other toxins like heavy metals, environmental pollutants like phthalates, that can be microplastics. It can be pretty much everything that is toxic to the body. In another definition, that is a harmful thing that your body is exposed to. Maybe you also heard the stories that our liver and our kidney are our main detoxifying organs and we don't have to worry. And that is right, our liver and our kidney are great at detoxing. But as time goes on, the liver and the kidney, they get overwhelmed, they get overworked, they get overstressed. Modern times are way too much for our organs. Our liver and our kidney are made for the time thousands of years ago, where there were very little toxins in their environment. How do we notice that our liver and our kidney are overworked? Common symptoms we notice are bloating, our unexplained weight gain, our pain in the right side of the stomach, where also the liver sits. It can be fatigue, it can also be brain fog, and in very extreme cases, long term, you also develop a disease of the liver, which is a fatty liver. Fatty liver is a diagnosis that doctors give to a liver that has been overworked and overstressed long term. Many alcoholics develop this, but also people that have an unhealthy lifestyle, eat lots of junk food, or are commonly exposed to toxins. Furthermore, our liver and our kidney are not very good at getting rid of parasites or viruses by themselves. For this part, they need support. And for this, we need special herbs, foods, drinks, or the lack of food. Now you need to depend on your symptoms and the problems that you have, what kind of detox would be right for you. And again, mentioning this out of safety, I'm not a doctor, this is a medical disclaimer. Do not follow any protocols without talking to your healthcare professional in advance. There is a host of protocols on the internet. There's protocols from many influencers, there's many people that want to sell you, there's many people that want to scam you. As I mentioned, the most important thing is that you look for what do you need to detox from and how could you achieve this. If you, for example, only suffer from a mild parasitic infections and have tapeworms, then there's methods out there that work extremely well. You could, for example, use wormwood, which is extremely potent. Some people would only use wormwood for 1 or 2 times in a tincture form, and then their parasites are already dead. Then you get rid of the parasites, flush them out, and this parasitic infection is gone. Obviously, there's also medications like ivermectin and fenbendazole, which some people use to treat parasitic infections. Another common remedy that is recommended by some people is water fasting, or water fasting together with using some Himalayan sea salt. This is also a great way because it can starve some parasites, and some toxins get easier flushed out if you stop consuming new toxins all the time. Water fasting also has the benefits of improving autophagy in your body. Autophagy meaning the process of your body killing off dead cells, which makes your body also able to rejuvenate and create new cells easier. To summarize, detoxing is real and detoxing is individual. Many detoxes are not approved by doctors, and many detoxes are also banned of talking about. Many detoxes are also banned on social media. In the end, I can understand medicine. Medicine wants to prevent harm to people also, but on the other hand, there's big pharma which just wants to milk us for cash. So take everything everything with a grain of salt. In the end, and to summarize the main points, there is more to autoimmune diseases than just our body starting to magically attack ourselves. Try to question the narrative a little bit. There is bugs around us, we have parasites, we have viruses, and they can at least be the cause for some of those diseases, including but not limited to fibro, to MS, to rheumatoid arthritis, to Crohn's disease. There's more and more science being released every year. Medical science is just not updating this into their practice. This is why we need to detox. And this is why the medical industry tries to laugh at us detoxing, and they try to make it out to be a pseudoscience, but it's not. And the real science, the modern scientists, they actually already know this. It's been science for 20 years. It's just not translated into medical practice. Why don't more scientists stand up?